they're more like the testes. So this is where sperm production takes place. Okay, sperm production is made in these. Okay, the closer you get to the bottom, the closer you get to the male portion, right? Right here. Okay. This area right here where it starts getting real fluffy and real white. And I'm just gonna pluck that guy out. Okay. You'll start seeing that this tube gets thicker. It's not in a Y shape anymore. Okay. This isn't a Y shape like you saw with the female. Okay, let me actually take out some of these. Okay. This is no longer a Y shape, but it's a thick one, but it's surrounded by these little thinner ones. And that's because, again, these are the testes. Okay. The testes, and near the end or the tips of the testes, they look almost exactly the same. But the testes lead into the vas deferens, and the vas deferens is just a really thin, very, very, very coiled tube. Again, that looks just like the testes. That leads the sperm from the testes to the what's called a cloaca. So from the testes to the vas deferens, okay, from the vas deferens to the seminal vesicles, which are these thicker, okay, these thicker, or this thicker tube, because there's only one of them, okay, this thicker tube. And then if you were to follow that thicker tube, which I actually took off of this area that's wrapped around, okay, let me just unwrap that guy, okay. If you were to follow this down, you'll see that it actually leads back down to these thinner areas right here. And again, here's all this fluffy stuff again. Okay. This fluffy stuff, see? It just smushes onto there. Okay. You lead down from the seminal vesicles to the ejaculation duct, which is right about here. So if I'm to cut into the hook, okay, and I'm actually going to peel it a bit. Okay, cut into the hook. And you'll see that it's pretty meaty in there. Okay. So at about here, you get what's called your cloaca. So a cloaca is that little port or that little opening I've been telling you guys about. That's at the tip right here. Okay. And the cloaca is just a fancy way of saying that it's not only an opening for semen to become ejaculated or semen to be ejaculated, but it's also a port for poop. So if you hear the word cloaca, which you will, because we're going to talk about this later on, and other animals also have cloacas, the cloaca is not only for sexual reproduction, but it is also for the release of excrement or the release of poop. Okay, so follow those down. You get all this fluffy stuff. Okay, and there you go. All the way down. Okay. So now that we have made a nice little mess here, and you've seen the female and the male. Okay. Female's all dried out now. I mean, she's just, okay, she looks like a dried leaf. Okay, the male is still a little bit juicy. He's still a little pliable. See how he's not ripping quite as easily. Okay, now that we have come to the end of this, you are supposed to answer your questions. I hope you've been answering them as you go, or else you're gonna have to watch the whole thing all over again, which, I mean, is fine, but just so you know. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys some proper procedures before we move on. So first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to start cleaning up. So the way you're going to clean up, have your handy dandy cup, and you're going to take these out. Okay, you're going to have a paper towel and just kind of wipe these as you go. Okay. We're just trying to get all the little bits of animal off of these. Okay. And then the ones you're seeing me just kind of dump in there, there's like nothing on them. That's why I'm dumping them in there. Because there's either nothing visibly on them or they were completely just kind of yanked off. Yep, and this one I'm actually going to tear off that guy first. Because now you can just pull these out. Okay, and as you can tell, this is pretty dirty. Okay, pretty dirty. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to keep that together. I'm actually going to bring the trash can to me. Okay, I have the trash can right there. Okay, so I'm going to just dump those. You guys are to use only the giant trash can. The little one gets full way too easily. Hi. Okay, so that's what you're gonna do. Okay, I have this guy completely dirty. So your sinks have been taped off because everyone was using them as the recycling bins. So yours have been completely sealed off because everyone was using them as trash cans. So I didn't like that. Okay, but I'm gonna take off as much of this as I can. You see all those little bits? I can still look. I can still pick them up and throw them in the trash, which is what I'm doing. Okay, kind of go like this. Get as much as you can off. As much as you can. Okay, see, slightly cleaner. Okay, I'm going to take. I actually didn't use my tweezers, which would have been a great idea, but I didn't use my tweezers, so I'm just going to leave them there for right now. Make sure I dump the little dry nail. Okay. I did use my scissors, so I got to make sure you have that on there. Okay, so these tools that I used, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go over to my sink now. I'm going to wash them. You always wash them with soap and water, and then I always have paper towels. So over by the sink, there will always be paper towels. Make sure that you wipe everything down. Okay, so give me a second. I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna show you guys exactly what we're doing. I'm not taking off my gloves at all. So make sure you follow this part. Okay.